Hello, welcome to Play with Curious Sunshine. I'm Sarah, and here we talk all about play. We dive into the various definitions of what play means. We talk about what it means to step into a more playful lifestyle, and we talk about applying playfulness to things and situations that maybe seem very much not playful. So if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel and share this video with someone who you think would find it fruitful. Okay, so hopefully this video is short. I keep saying this for the last couple of videos and they've been like way over 30 minutes. So let's hope that this is less than 30 minutes, but apologies in advance or not. I mean, whatever. Anyways, when I was planning content, I was like, oh, I want to talk about, statistics in regards to play and adulthood, or like playing adults and play, essentially. And it was a little harder than I thought to find some like quick fire statistics to share. So we're going to put a pin in that. However, during this research, I came across this article that talks about play guilt. And yeah, I don't know. I just felt like that was going to be a great topic to kind of talk about briefly here. So we're going to talk about play guilt and what that is. And essentially, so play guilt is the notion that when we play, we also have these feelings of guilt that follow. And a lot of that comes from this internal voice that we have about prioritizing productivity over play, or even feeling selfish in regards to playing. And, there's some internal questions that adults may ask themselves, like, I should be working. There's other things that I have to do. People need me, or even with everything happening in the world, how can I justify playing? Like the world is literally burning. Why would I dedicate time to play? And there's, questions, within that we could have this internal voice kind of asking us that really then just makes us feel guilty. And even when we are in the middle of playing, we cut it short of like, okay, that's enough. I got work to do. Or okay, like we got to cut it short. Um, we have a long list of to-dos that we have to do and I can't allocate any more time for play. And though I get it, I do it myself, even, and I play is my thing. Like I do work and play, but also I find myself prioritizing things in my play business over just nourishing myself by playing. So it's like instead of spending time doing something fun, I'm like, no, I have to make content. I have to research statistics. I can't play. I have all these things I got to do. And, this is just, thoughts, right? Just kind of naming things that maybe we already feel, but didn't have maybe a name for it. And so I think, yeah, play guilt is running rampant in the adulthoodness that we experience. Which, I mean, it makes sense. Not to say it's okay, but I think it makes sense. Like, we have literally a billion things that we're doing every day. And so the idea of play maybe is tossed to like the very last thing. Like, after I finish all my to-do list that is infinite and never actually, there's always going to be something we have to do. So there's never like this end of doing stuff. And so we'll put play last, if play's even in the picture at all. And yeah, but I come here to say, what if we see play as something that fills our cup, that gives us a boost, a tool for revitalization so that we can show up to these other responsibilities that we have in a more optimal state. I don't know about you, but I know that sometimes if I have like a long to-do list, I try and finish it as quick as possible. And I'm going. And I just kind of tunnel vision on the things I have to do. And I forget to do things that I need, like eat and rest and get up and stretch. And then if I forget these things, then suddenly I find myself irritated or easily aggravated, and I can't really pinpoint why. And it's because I've been burning the midnight oil, lighting the candle on both ends and down the middle. Like it's too much. Like we are human. First and foremost, we're human. There's only so much weight we can carry. There's only so much responsibility we can hold. There's only so much things that we can do to be a part, a functioning member of society before we break, before we burn out, before we crash out. And play is a great tool to kind of help mitigate that. And so even though it seems almost counterintuitive, I think that's how it kind of works. The things that feel counterintuitive are usually the things we need the most. And so when we are feeling these feelings of like, I can't stop, I can't break, it's like, if you ask yourself that question, maybe it's time that you did. And I'm not saying like close all your tabs and then go play. It's like, just take a pause. Take a pause and just go in the sun, in some fresh air, play a little game. I know sometimes if I'm in between meetings or something, I'll play some word games. I'll doodle, I'll draw. Even just allotting yourself a couple of minutes to play really does just help kind of break up that tension of responsibility and adulting and just trying to get all the things checked off on the to-do list only to then discover there's more things to add onto the to-do list. And it's a never-ending to-do list. So where's the break? You have to make the break. You have to be the one to hold boundaries in how much you're trying to do before you eventually burn out, because again, we're humans. There's only so much capitalism we can capitalize off of before our natural bodies need other things. It's kind of like sleep. If you can only do so much off of no sleep before your brain starts shutting down and your body starts shutting down. Same with food, same with water, same with affection, right? And so play is one of those things that is a biological need similar to rest, food, and affection. That is one, it's not a statistic, but fact, a play fact. So yeah, really seeing play as a way for you to make sure that you can show up in these most optimal ways because you're replenishing your energy and you're refilling your cup. So yeah, I think my invitation to you with all of that is, I have the question here, is to notice your own play guilt. Do you have any guilty feelings around play, giving yourself space to play? If you have a long list of things to do and you feel guilty spending 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes on your joy and doing something that you enjoy. And then, asking yourself, what would you do today if you didn't feel guilty about playing? What would you do? Just think about it and figure out if there's any steps you can take to be more proactive in that. All right. So now let's move on to the play philosophy of the week. So super cool because I had these little kits that when I used to do a lot of markets, I'd have these like kits that I'd give out to folks and they'd call them like spiritual play gifts. anyways, I created these fortune cookie type things, and I found a few that I didn't give away. So I was like, oh, this is a great inspiration for a play philosophy of the week. So I unfurled one that I'd origamied together, and it said, "Go hug a tree and frolic about." And so the play philosophy of the week is to go connect with nature. And I feel like there's that term like go touch grass. That. But not only just, I think with this specific invitation, it's deeper, right? So yes, go out and touch the grass, go sit in it, go smell the fresh air, go look at the trees, all that good stuff. But also, I want to invite you to really try and connect with nature. Like, go actually hug a tree. Go talk to the flowers. Ask the birds how their days are. Whisper to the grass that you love it. And invite this level of whimsy, which I feel partial about that word because it's like a hot take. It's a hot word right now. And I'm like, nah. But it's a whimsical take of going and spending time in nature and connecting. I mean, we are all, and by we are all, I mean humans, plants, animals are all vibrations. And so if you're interacting with these other natural entities, your vibration is going to be felt by them, and they are going to feel your vibration and send you theirs as well. And there's some folks can like literally feel feelings that these plants are emitting. I read this book. Gosh, I can't remember what book it was. I don't even know if I would even know the keywords to even find it to put it in the description. But it talks about how flowers have their own language and can talk to each other. And some of you may be familiar with like the mycelial network, which is this network of like organism fungi that lives in the soil that communicate with each other. And that is how some trees are able to know if there is any kind of environmental disaster coming, because this mycelial network will come and communicate these things through the roots, through the soil, through the flowers and the trees. And they're able to say like, oh, we need to start conserving our energy. We need to start pulling nutrients from these other sources because X, Y, and Z is happening. That is science. That is science, but we like to revel in magic here. And I remember this one day in grad school, we were my professor had dowsing rods, and the exercise was to feel the energetic field of trees, because just like humans, some trees are like, please don't get close to me, like I need you to be 10 feet away. And so with the dowsing rods, we were walking towards trees. And then when we'd hit the energetic field that the trees are comfortable with, the dowsing rods would cross. And at that point, that's where we sit. And then we connect to the tree at the distance that the tree was comfortable with communicating with us. So I just thought that was interesting. Anyways, I say this to say that the natural world is alive. And there's so many messages that we can get from just being still in nature, connecting with the trees, even having these instances where we just sit with trees and we start getting these thoughts that pop into our head. And it could be the tree saying, hey, what's up? Like, nice for you to come to visit. Welcome to my home. And little things like that. So let your let your assumptive adult ego mind melt when you go into these spaces to hug trees and frolic in nature. our adult ego mind serves no purpose here. I think it is more receptive when we show up in these ways that are more childlike and curious and open. And I feel like those are just more high vibrational states that we exist in that really then match the frequency of the nature world that we're in and help us really receive these insights, these downloads, and these messages from the natural world more easily. Yeah. So go hug a tree. You never know what the tree's gonna tell you. Go talk to the flowers, go whisper to the grass, go thank the soil for being there, and go tell the birds, hey, what's up? Nice to meet ya. And let your electromagnetic field be of high vibration of love and joy because they could feel that. I mean, humans could feel that. And I'm not going to get into like electromagnetic frequencies or anything like that right now. But if everything's a vibration and our emotions hold certain vibrations, then I mean, it just 1 + 1 = 2 in this case. So, yeah, go frolic and be a little woodland fairy and see, what happens. Worst case scenario, no. Best case scenario, because there's no bad from being in nature. But at the very least, you can come back with a more clear mind, more charged ions if you're earthing. There's even, I just had it and then my brain just spaced. There's even there's even research around when we are in nature, it's healing. What is it? It's called, there's a Japanese term, but it translates to forest bathing and how that is, I think doctors are prescribing that now for folks that maybe are feeling like more on the depressive anxiety side. God in nature and just being in that natural world and the vibrations, the collective vibration of the forest and the woods you're going to align to that. And so you're going to come out of this feeling better. And even there was this one study, which I found so interesting. People who are in hospitals, healing, they did this research or study about like the people who were in the hospital who had like no window view or nothing healed slower than the people who were in the hospital healing that did have a window view that were able to have and be around natural scenery, being able to see the trees, the sunlight, and all that stuff. They healed more quickly than the people who were just in like four walls, which makes sense because again, we're humans. We weren't like we weren't meant to be in these four walls with no windows, no fresh air. Like that's not who we are. We are meant to be, honestly, we're meant to be really out. We're supposed to be out there with the birds and the trees and the flowers. But society. And so, society has now created these buildings and structures for us to spend more of our time in, which I also attribute to the lack of play that we feel we need to have. It's like this whole thing. Anyways, that is it for that before I just keep rambling because I will. So let's move on to our final segment of the video, which is this or that. So how this works is I'm going to have two hands up and it's a game of intuition. So you're going to pick whichever hand comes to you and then each hand has a different message. And I just kind of give some intuition and insight into each one. Hopefully you find insight, it resonates with you, you have a aha moment, or anything in between. So yeah, looking at these hands, pick whichever one, don't think about it. This is the intuition. You got to just pick one, whatever your gut tells you. Okay. So if you pick this hand, you got black and white. And if you pick this hand, you got color. So yeah, black and white and color. So let's dive into black and white. So when I think of black and white, duality, duality, polarity, contrast. I knew it was there. I think of these things where there's like this hard split between two things. Um, and maybe that's something that resonates with you. Maybe you're like one way at like work or at school, and then when you're out, you're like this whole other person. I know people like that where like they show up and they're very like, you know, professional and very to the point and great at that. And then, when it's time to have fun, it's like, whoa, who is this person? All these cool fun things. And so maybe that's something that resonates with you. I also think of like classic. I love black and white movies. There's just something calming about them. It's not overstimulating. It's just black and white, and you're focused on, the story. There's just this calming element about black and white films. I love The Twilight Zone, the classic Rod Serling one. Can't be beat. I've watched all of them, but the original, yes. Also, did you know that the Twilight Zone, oh gosh, I'm gonna like butcher this, but like when Ron Serling was creating the Twilight Zone, he was a big civil rights activist, and so the Twilight Zone was birthed out of his fight for civil rights. So, long story short, the Twilight Zone's for us. Um Anyways, black and white classic. Maybe you're classic, maybe you like older traditions, maybe you've been more, maybe that's something you've been into lately, is like exploring more classic traditional forms of media. What else about black and white? Oh, and I also think of like, when I think of black and white from like an artistic standpoint, you don't have color to add all this extra detail. And so in black and white, especially art, you are utilizing emphasis, negative space, and you have to get creative of how you really communicate an emotion or a vibe. And so maybe that's something that resonates with you, is getting creative on how to emphasize or highlight an emotion or a vibe that you're wanting to communicate, convey, or express. Black and white. I also think of like Halloween with black and white, and maybe that's because like it's like Beetlejuice or like the Addams Family or something like that. It's like black and white. I actually have like black and white toes right now, and I have like these black and white pants that give me like Beetlejuice vibes, or referee vibes. But even just when you think about when you use black and white together, it is instantly going to stand out because they're both extreme on their own. And so when you put them together, they just kind of bring out the extremities of each other. And so maybe that is something to consider, the extremes of both ends, because the color white is emitting all the light, all the colors, and then black is absorbing all the colors. So when you mix all the colors together, you get black. Yes, it's been a while since I've did like color theory and stuff. I haven't done that since like college. Um, so yeah, think about that. All absorbing all the things and emitting all the things. and however that translates into your life at the time you're watching this. Okay. Color, 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 color. Very vibrant, very bright, quite the opposite of black and white in a way, where there's, instead of having a polarity or a duality, you have all of these colors in between. And so you're really looking at the spectrum of things. Maybe viewing the spectrum of something in your life that maybe seems like an extreme this or that black or white situation, maybe viewing it through a more colorful lens and looking at all the shades that it could encapsulate. I'm also thinking of um, like the our eyes can see only the colors and the vibrations that we exist in, I guess. So it's like we're able to see red, and then like the extreme is infrared, and then we're able to see violet, and then the extreme is ultraviolet. We can't see ultraviolet, we can't see infrared, but we can see just before that. So thinking about color waves, I also like to think of like, oh my god, if we're only able to see from one spectrum to the other in color, what else is existing around us that we can't see because our eyes just simply can't detect it? I think that's why sometimes my cat is like staring up in this on the ceiling or something. I always tell him when he's looking up, I'm like, if it's nice, is it nice? If it's nice, keep it. If it's mean, meow at it to go away. But I just think about like our ability or inability to really see maybe the full spectrum of our current existence because we could only see any and everything between red and violet. I also think of the Wizard of Oz, especially with these two, black and white and color, how Dorothy was, um, her old or like her former life was very black and white, and she's living this life and she wants something more, but this is where she's at, this farm in Kansas. But then once she goes and lands in Oz, the whole world is full of color. And so maybe there's some transition from black and white to color that you need to make. Granted, also, in order for her to get there, she had to go through a tornado. And so knowing that sometimes these transitions from seeing in black and white to color can come with ego shattering revelations, and ego deaths, and like taking hard looks at ourselves and figuring out what parts of us were black and white that need to actually be in color, and doing the emotional, spiritual, mental, physical work to acknowledge that. Colors. Colors are, I love colors. I mean, maybe you need to play with color. Maybe your wardrobe's black and white and you need to switch it up. Put some color in there. Add some color up in there. Maybe even for your home. I know as a millennial, we love our millennial beige or a millennial gray or something like that. Bump that. Make your home look as colorful as you feel because it's your home. So you might as well have it reflect something that's true. And yeah, I think there's more, but I said we're going to wrap it up in 30 minutes, so we hit 30 minutes. Whatever else came up for you in this or that, black or white or color, put in the comments. Journal about it. Have this conversation with someone else. I don't know. But as always, thank you for watching and thank you for playing.